Hey everybody, it is Wednesday, May 19th, 2021. Thank you for joining me for this broadcast. My name is JJ. You're watching Bull Boom Bear Bust. And we're back here with another dose of economic reality. Let's see how we are doing in this economic non-recovery. Why do we call it a non-recovery? Well, most of the good economic news that you're seeing right now is because of money created out of thin air and payouts to the masses. And we see it in the CPI numbers. Prices are rising because of all of the new spending power being pumped out there by the money printers. And this does have major impacts on several areas of the economy. Let's talk about just a few things that are on the radar right now. So, rising prices. Most of you, if you do any sort of buying, purchasing, you have noticed rising prices. We see it in food, cars, of course, homes, basic materials, raw materials, and we're going to start seeing more shortages as this system continues to unfold in this inflationary environment. Okay, today we're also going to talk about the road to universal basic income. We've got a big investor out there saying that the stimulus checks are basically opening the door to UBI down the road, and I think it's coming a lot sooner than many people realize. Okay, we're also going to talk about billionaires, mega billionaires selling off their stocks and record-setting job openings. What's behind the record-setting number for job openings? Does that mean the economy is really strong? Let's go ahead and take a look here. Recent CNBC article, job openings leaped above 8 million in March. That's a new all-time high. And this actually just went up to about 8.1 here just recently. And that may seem like good news, but guess what? It's not so good news. We've covered it here. These are mostly in the service sector, leisure and hospitality sector. And most of these jobs average in the $15 an hour range. Now, normally you would say $15 an hour, not bad if you're living at home, if you don't have much overhead, if you don't have any expenses, right? But also, in addition to being not so good as far as pay goes, a lot of these places that are hiring are only offering between 20 and 30 hours a week. Most of them, a lot of them without any benefits. And a lot of you probably know it only takes one major medical expense to break you, and takes a trip to the emergency room, a few days in the hospital, and years worth of savings can be gone in just a few days. And we know that most millennials actually do live at home because the cost of living has simply outpaced what many new graduates make coming out of high school and out of college both. So what do you have with all these people living at home, not much overhead in many cases, and they're getting stimulus checks? Well, you get people that choose not to work, and that's the reason behind this 8 million plus job opening number. Or I should say one of the reasons. Another reason is all the money being spent out in the economy from all the payouts that have been handed out to millions of people. Well, that creates jobs, right? So you have more people purchasing, going out shopping, more people dining out, more people spending money creates jobs. Why? Because we live in a consumer driven economy. We're about 70+% consumer driven economy. Not much manufacturing, but a lot of people know how to spend money and swipe their cards. And we talked about this just a few episodes ago. There's so many people out there with money to spend, and many people with not such great credit. We talked about this. The banks are now giving out credit cards to people with no credit score, right? So someone with no history of making payments, now three major banks are giving out these credit cards to these customers, these people, and I think it's going to expand into a lot more banks. And just wait till UBI rolls out. Then there's going to be even more banks giving credit cards out to just about anybody. So it's going to be subprime. Remember back when mortgages were given out in the mid to late 2000s to basically anybody. Now they're going to, seems like they're doing that with credit cards, right? So it's more easy money created out of thin air, right? And one of the things that we try to do here is figure out what's the end game. What is the end game? Are we going to keep doing this as the central bank, the money printers? They're going to keep doing this all the way into hyperinflation? Well, nobody knows, but we need to be prepared for either scenario. Right now, speaking of easy money, payouts, universal basic income, take a look at this recent article right here out of Yahoo Finance. Jeffrey Gundlach, stimulus checks are opening the door to universal basic income, right? So no credit score needed credit cards to allow all these people getting these payouts to now have credit cards to go out and make it easier to spend, right? So it's easy money, making it easier for people to spend. Credit cards to just about anyone now who wants one. Now, they've been doing this for many years in certain groups, like college students, a lot of times can get a credit card with little or no credit history. But now every underwriting standard has basically been thrown out the window. Right. Also, think about this with the 8 million plus job openings and all the people choosing to just sit back and collect the payouts and not work. Well, if there were better paying jobs, then more people would make the decision to go ahead and work in addition to getting the payouts. So that would almost be a win-win. You'd have strong manufacturing jobs that allow people to still make the choice, or at least they wouldn't discourage people from working, and then they would still have the stimulus check to spend on top of that. And if you're manufacturing a lot of stuff in the country, which we don't, but if you were manufacturing a lot of items, people would then have a much better situation, because then the spending would translate into better paying jobs. But now what do? We import most of our goods and products. And here's an excerpt out of this article here, which highlights Gundlach's recent comments. Quote, Gundlach added, the end result is people are making more money sitting at home watching Netflix than they are at work, and they don't want to go back. I think one of the dangers is that we've opened the door to these stimulus checks starting to feel like they might not go away. Also, here in California, Governor Newsom said he's going to be sending out $600 stimulus checks to residents making less than $75,000 or couples making less than $150,000. Right, and this is going to be on top of whatever other federal stimulus checks are going to be sent out. So the fast food joints here in California are going to be looking to hire a lot of people. One, because of the new spending, that people now have the spending power because of the payouts. But then two, a lot of jobs to fill because more people are going to choose to sit at home and just collect these payouts. Right, so it's basically a double whammy. You have all this spending power out there creating jobs, but then also people incentivized not to work. Take a look at this. In many states, people are going to be forced to go back to work, and maybe to a 15-something an hour job at a fast food place or some other service sector, leisure job. And we see that 21 states are terminating the federal unemployment benefits. So I guarantee in those states, you're going to see a lot of these entry-level, low-paying jobs filled when the enhanced federal unemployment benefit payouts stop going out. And also remember, a lot of people are still on unemployment for less than a year, but when they hit the year mark, those people are also going to be having to look for a job. So a lot of people are going to be working and filling these 8 million jobs coming up in the next few months. But unfortunately, it's not going to be enough to keep up with the rising costs, to keep up with the inflation because of all the inflationary pressures happening right now. But who's behind the scenes laughing at all this? Well, the billionaires, and they're selling mega-sized stock blocks after the big run-up here in the stock market. Now, over the past few days, we've seen some weakness and some red days. But many billionaires are selling off larger and larger chunks of stock, laughing all the way to the bank. That's the name of the game. The rich get richer. If you're poor and middle class, stay prepared, because it's only going to get harder with these rising prices and not very good job opportunities. Okay, everybody, thanks for watching this update. Keep stacking, stay well, stay safe, stay prepared. Bye for now, everybody. Peace.